Hello, everyone. Gonna give folks just 1 second to make sure we've got everyone here. Sean, are you with us?
Crystal, give me just a minute. I hear Mike in the hallway, so I'm gonna go
Okay.
grab him real quick.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Rachel, are we good to go?
We are good.
Perfect. Welcome, everyone. My name is Crystal Dunning, and on behalf of the Nebraska Arts Council, I'd like to welcome you to this panel meeting. We've convened to review applications in the annual series and event grant category. Decisions made by this panel will determine the funding for all applications. They will be reviewed by the NAC Council at the next meeting to convene on June 9, 2026. So now I'd like for each of the panelists to introduce themselves to one another and to all those listening in, and I will go ahead and call on you by name. So Hannah.
Hello, thank you, Crystal. My name is Hannah Bell. I'm the Community Partnerships Manager with Lincoln's Symphony Orchestra for the past 6.5 years. This is my first panel, and I am very happy to be here and look forward to discussing all of these applications with you.
Thanks, Hannah. Richard.
Hello, everybody. My name is Richard Carrillo. I am the Director of Choral Activities at UNO, and this is my second year there and my second year on this panel. Prior to that, I was in Miami and have kind of lived all over the country, but excited to be here.
Thanks, Richard. Sean.
Hi there. I'm Sean Harner, and I am an experiential and multimedia event producer. I've been doing that for over 30 years, and I am also a somatic embodiment coach. So, really glad to be here.
Thanks, Sean. And Jenny.
Hi, I'm Jenny Richardson, and I'm one of the owners and instructors at Blue Raven Music Studios here in Lincoln. I'm also one of the organizers of the Porch Jam Festival. This is also my first panel, so I'm excited.
Thanks, Jenny, and thanks to all the panelists. Mike, is there anything that you would like to say?
I would. First, I'd like to thank you, Crystal, for stepping in and doing two panels back to back. It's very good of you, and I appreciate it. I thank all of the panelists for lending their expertise and their opinions about these grants. And I welcome and congratulate everybody who has an application in this category. You're here because you do something good and you've done it for years, and you form the backbone of a lot of the festivals and concerts and activities that go on throughout the state. We appreciate that, and we're glad that you've shared your applications and your projects with us again this year. As always, we encourage you to reach out to your local elected officials, let them know about what you do and the importance of public funding for your work, and to invite them to your projects. Let them know more about what you do and how you do it. Obviously, this is an election year, and so this is a more than important year to bring them into the fold, and even more so in just a few days, we're going to know who the candidates are. And once you do, I encourage you to reach out to them, tell them about what you do and the importance of public funding for your work. Now is when they're going to be most interested in listening. So now's the time. Invite them to your projects this summer, get to know them. And if you have any questions about how to approach them or what to talk about or how to inform them of what's going on, you're more than welcome to reach out to us or to our friends at Nebraskans for the Arts. They're always willing to help you. You've got some wonderful people on this panel. I encourage you to listen carefully to what all they have to say, and good luck with your projects. Thanks, Crystal.
Thanks, Mike. Rachel, would you kindly explain the process? to anyone listening in.
Absolutely. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone joining in and listening in today also. The reviewers have read and reviewed the applications prior to this panel and have scored them according to the rubric that was linked in the application. Applicants are encouraged to listen to the reviews, but will not be able to interact with the panelists. Written minutes will also be provided to all applicants. Award notices will be sent after the Nebraska Arts Council board meeting in June. The Nebraska Arts Council staff are here to answer any questions for applicants before the applications are submitted, but we are not a part of the panel discussion. The conversation today is for the panelists, and staff are here only to clarify questions about process.
Thanks, Rachel. All right, let's go ahead and begin. Rachel will provide a brief synopsis of each application, and then I'll call upon the panelists one by one for their comments in this order: primary reviewer, secondary reviewer, and then the remaining reviewers one at a time. So we will now proceed with our first application. Albion Area Arts Council with our primary reviewer, Hannah Bell. Rachel, would you provide that synopsis?
Absolutely. Thank you, Crystal. This grant will help the Albion Arts Council pay for the musicians and bands who will be performing at the 5th Annual Summer Concert Series, which will be held at the venue on 4th Street in July and is located in downtown Albion. They estimate 5,000 people from Boone County and northeastern Nebraska area will be attending the 5 outdoor music concerts. They will use any NAC funds awarded to pay for the musicians, artists, and bands performing at the Summer Concert Series.
Thanks, Rachel. Hannah, over to you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Crystal. I really enjoyed reading about this application and about this project. It was very clearly laid out with all of the details set for the venue, food and beverages, and the types of artists that they expect to be hired, as well as those costs and attendance expectations. All seemed reasonable and well within project parameters. Their goals are very clearly laid out for who they want to attract and how many, especially with metrics for tracking attendance. The timeline was very detailed and the budget seemed very solid with clearly laid out line items. I would like to see how they might gather specific demographic information, perhaps a paper survey or some sort of a post-concert evaluation that people could voluntarily fill out to just gather some more demographics for future reference and applications. Just to see who's attending their performances. I think that would be enlightening both to the organization and to future reviewers of these grants. In regards to their outreach and engagement activities and plans, I appreciated all that they are doing to welcome and incorporate those who may not be able to attend live performances and concerts by bringing artists to nursing homes and rehabilitation centers or bringing them to the concerts through busing. Perhaps some more direct outreach plans aside from just marketing, especially to youth or underserved populations could be seen in the application. But overall, I look forward to seeing the fruits of their labors.
Thanks, Hannah. Richard.
I agree with a lot of what Hannah had said. Yes, I agree that at least the artists they've done in the past and the ones they were potentially looking to bring seem to work well for their venue with a realistic budget and plan of what they're doing. But I agree also with, I do like part of what they're trying to do to reach these underserved and communities, particularly with the youth and the veterans. I really like, they have the sidewalk chalk and the face painting and different activities for the children to come, and then also their way of trying to get the assisted living and nursing home residents to attend the concerts. And to try to work with that way. But it felt like it was a very well thought out application with their plans and budgets and their ways of achieving that.
Thanks, Richard. Sean.
Okay, I agree with both of you. Also noting just the broad community support that is apparent in this application is really good to see, and that these kinds of things are so important for rural communities. Having grown up in one. One concern that I want to just throw out there for the specific application is that a lot of the links that they provided in the artist biographies were not quite working. They directed you to Facebook, and then I was trying to, kind of find on the if a direct link would be really, really helpful, as opposed to just like, here's the Facebook page. Like, well, because I wanted to listen to the artists and I had to do a little bit of digging. So just a general note, but once again, beautiful application.
Thanks, Sean. And Jenny.
I have to agree with what everyone else has said. I haven't really heard anything else that I need to add. But it was a good application.
All right. Thanks, Jenny.
Mhm.
All right. Panelists, if you need to adjust your scores, please take a moment to do so. And once you have completed that and are ready to move on to the next application, can you give me a thumbs up? Thank you. Awesome, awesome. Perfect. All right. Our next application is the Brownville Concert Series. Rachel.
Thanks, Crystal. So the Brownville Concert Series presents monthly concerts from April to December with varied programming, including classical music, cabaret performances based on the American Songbook, rock and roll, bluegrass, jazz, vocal recitals, and opera. They end the season with a special Christmas gala, and each performer is asked to conduct a student or community outreach event as part of their contract. The annual attendance is 1,500 plus. They plan to use the NAC funds for tech crew, sound, tech director, and also artist fees and general operating expenses.
Thank you. Richard.
Let me unmute. There we go. Hello, yes. Thank you for I guess the first thing, once again, a lot of their bios are strong that are presented in the application, though there were a few in there that I felt like could have talked more about their artistic value. Some of them literally just talked about, this is how our band came together, but not what they've done in the community, not kind of why this group is important. I was thinking particularly with their first one, with the Soul Rock, they just kind of named, this is how our friends got together to play music. Which yes has value in of itself, but what are they doing in the community? What is these particular bands doing to give them this merit? So that was just one thing that I noticed with some of their bios, that they seemed overly broad. They do have a clear plan with measurable goals that seem attainable. They want to increase season pass sales by 5%, maintain high quality performances, increase volunteers. And they've shown how they plan to designate those various tasks throughout their time. And their budget does seem reasonable, though they do say that they have $10,000 that is TBD. So I think they said it may be coming from a foundation, so I don't know if they're waiting to figure out where those particular funds are coming from, but I thought it was just important to notice that they do have 10,000 that hasn't been secured yet for this. Regarding their outreach and engagement, I was interesting to read kind of how they're bringing in students to help volunteer as a tech crew, and they seem to offer the hall, but it seems to be kind of on the burden of the students. If the students wanted to do a recital in the hall, or if they wanted to use it, it's there available, versus kind of having a programming set like our students will provide, or almost this organization providing that. And so, yes, that is, I think, a neat thing they offer. But once again, it's not clear if it happens every year, or if it's run by them, or if it's just if the students are interested, they can use that. In addition, they talked about how they want to provide for being inclusive with LGBTQ, but once again, they don't necessarily provide how they want to do it other than just, oh, we want to be inclusive, but not quite sure what that looks like. And they also stated too that they want to recognize the low income people in their community. So they've kept ticket prices as low as $25. And at least for me, I feel like if there's someone in a low income demographic, $25 to go to a concert may be a little bit higher. I would think maybe $20 would be the high end of what I would at least expect, or lower. That but they do seem to be doing some kind of outreach at, through UNO, Peru State, and Auburn schools. But once again, they've talked about those affiliations in the past without necessarily having a clear plan of what that looks like for their upcoming season. And they even mentioned that they admit to having no direct community partnerships to kind of help along with this process, but that they do have, like they said, occasional collaborations with universities. So it seems like they've done some stuff with partners and things in the past, but there's not a clear vision of what that may look like for this upcoming season. So those are some of the things that I just kind of noted from their application, and yeah, some of the things that I just saw.
Thanks, Richard. Jenny.
Sorry, my toolbar wasn't wanting to come up. Yeah, so I do have to agree. I do agree with a lot of things that Richard was saying. I think when I looked at their outreach, I did feel like they have done a lot of a different variety of things. Like with getting with the colleges and the outreach, like the performances and the recitals. So even though they don't have a bunch of things listed, I did feel like since they've done many of these things, they probably have a good plan, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more with that. I did like that they have a very wide variety of artists so that they are attracting different people. As we know, musical tastes run the gamut. So I like that they're trying to get as many people as possible interested in their performances. Other than that, I thought it was a pretty good application. Everything seemed straight ahead.
Thanks, Jenny. Hannah.
I don't know that I have anything particular to add to what Richard and Jenny have already stated. I thought the application was overall quite strong. It would be interesting to see what other tools of evaluation they could use towards tracking their goals besides just ticket sales. How they are tracking their increase in volunteers, which could just be a matter of numbers, but then how they are going to track their goal of maintaining the high quality programming that they are known for, and how those affect their communities that they serve. I would like to see some more specifics of what they want to see as they track those goals that are not just numbers or ticket sales.
Thanks, Hannah. And Sean.
Thank you. Yeah, I think everybody has covered what I would have said as well. Really agreeing with Richard on the tech kids thing. Like, I think that sounds really wonderful, and I think maybe having more of a specific program around that, or being able to be more clear about how that works, or the benefits. There are obvious benefits to the kids from that, but yeah, I would like to see that maybe expanded or configured in some way that is more specific. But other than that, a really good application, and I look forward to seeing what happens with it.
Thanks, Sean. All right. If you need a moment to adjust your scores, please do so. And then if you can give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Hannah. Sean, was that a thumbs up from you, or okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, everyone. Going on to our next application, First Presbyterian Church. Rachel, over to you.
Crystal. This grant is to help support the 2026-27 season events of the Arts for the Soul Music and Fine Arts series, which runs from the fall of 2026 through June of 2027. Included are public concerts as well as community outreach events. The series is based at First Presbyterian Church in Lincoln, and the public concerts will take place there. Outreach events will take place at a local retirement community, in the Lincoln Public Schools, and at UNL, the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. They will use the funds to pay for artist fees, travel and lodging costs, marketing, printing of programs, etc., as well as performance licenses, sound equipment, and tech help.
Thank you. And Sean, you are a primary here.
Thank you. So this is what stood out for me was the intersection of mediums, music, narration, and poetry that was tied to their season theme, which I really thought was fun that they have a season theme, which was Beyond Earth's Bounds. The artists seemed to be very high caliber, and it was easy to find them and see how they were all laid out. They're doing some very ambitious things, which is a new work that Brian Fultner is composing in partnership with Clayton Anderson, and that's a beautiful thing that they're putting something new out there and forward. Looking into the community partnerships seem to also be a real strength for them. They're doing a free outdoor concert with the South African and Mexican music Durana, and I think that's a really good piece to make free and to put out there, aimed specifically at the diverse communities in the neighborhood and around the church where it's being done. They did have a specific goal of at least 25% of that audience from the communities, drawing 25% of their audience from those refugee communities. I thought that was also a good metric to look forward to doing, and really concrete and measurable, and that's great. Some of my concerns are that there's a concert date. There was a little disconnect where they said at the beginning of the application that we're not sure that we have all of them, but then later on, and the only one that seemed to not be done was the October 25th one, which later was said it's October 25th. So I'm a little unclear about what isn't done and what is done. So maybe that needed cleaned up a little bit. Or maybe they're just still waiting on confirmation for that date. It was the Clayton Anderson one. And let's see what else. Yeah, their advertising on the budget was a really large expense, larger than I maybe was expecting it. I just wondered kind of breakout of that, what exactly are they doing in terms of that budgetary line item. And on the school outreach, they mention LPS and possibly McPhee, but they don't really talk about kind of other schools or what the actual strategy for that outreach is. And I would have liked a little bit more detail about that and understanding about how that could really pair deeply with what it is that they're doing within the series. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Ginny.
I apologize once again. My Zoom seems to be acting up when I'm trying to get back to unmute it. So, when I read through the application, I had very, very similar thoughts about the advertising budget. But overall, I really liked that they had a very interesting theme that was going on with the poetry and all the other things that they had looked at. And I assume that since they're still kind of working out completely their lineup, I didn't see anything that was standing out because of that. But otherwise, I pretty much agree with Sean. I don't think I saw anything that stood out for me other than things that were already brought up.
Thanks so much, Jenny. Richard.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the standouts of this is the true diversity of their things, from a silent film with organ to the Mexican music, and like it is a wide variety that seems to be reaching a lot of different demographics. And so I think even the idea of taking the community outreach to talk about the STEM component in schools, I thought was strong, and kind of once again mixing kind of arts and the STEM. But I really appreciated this application.
Thanks, Richard. Hannah.
Yes, very much agree with everything that Sean, Jenny, and Richard have already said. Enjoy the application and look forward to this great collaboration they have within their community and with STEAM. Excited about that.
Thank you. All right, if you need a moment to adjust your scores, please do so. And then if I can get a thumbs up once you've completed that. Richard, thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right, our next application is the Lincoln Association for the Traditional Arts. Rachel.
Thanks, Crystal. And I will say, we use LAFTA a lot, right? Lincoln Association for the Arts. So this project is for LAFTA's 2026-27 concert season, featuring national, regional, and select local musical acts performing acoustic folk, Americana, and traditional music. They estimate 500 to 600 people from Lincoln and the surrounding area will attend the concerts. The project will also support Contra Dance Lincoln, which stages monthly Contra dances in Lincoln. The grant funds awarded will help pay for performance fees and performance space rental for the series.
Thanks, Rachel. Jenny.
All right. So I took a look at this application and I thought it was a pretty good application. Definitely when I was looking at it, I assume they seem to have not completely picked out all of their performers for the upcoming year. So I'm gonna guess it's one of the later ones. But looking at who the people they are considering, they are all very talented artists, and there's some I'm excited about, and I hope that they get. Because I'll definitely be hitting up a couple of those concerts. But knowing them from like their past, from some of the past people they put up, it's a very good selection of traditional and folk artists that they have. One of the things that their budget looked pretty good. It looks like they give very like standard amounts. They just slot a standard amount for each performer, which, I don't know if like some people have to travel further or anything, if that's super taken in consideration, because I know that some of the people looking at their lists are more local and some are further out. So I assume that might be more divvied up at a later date when they get a confirmed selection. I really like that they do a partnership with the bridge. That is something that can be very helpful, especially for people in recovery, just sharing that music and that community, that sense of community coming together, and making it a safe space for that sort of like concerts and things that they don't have to worry. Let's see. So I do like that they have that. One thing that I kind of saw was that I wish there was like a little bit more with the people to attend who may not just be like, if they had a little more opportunities for other underserved communities maybe to attend and participate in these concerts, to somehow do a little bit more outreach. They do say, I did notice that like they do get a lot of younger artists, but they do mention like in the application, they're like, well, the average age of our artists trends upwards for this, but I don't see them really doing too much outreach to try and attract a younger audience. one of the simplest, probably maybe in their advertising, maybe trying like Instagram, which does have a younger audience versus like just Facebook and radio ads. That's one of the probably an easy way to maybe try getting somebody, the under 35. I know it's always harder to attract those people, but it is something like that I notice, just being able to see it, like younger people, they see a folk instrument, just being exposed to it kind of helps like bring them in. I've noticed that in my daily teaching. For like maybe just a little bit more in the community engagement and the community partnerships. It looks like they have a pretty standard, like these are the two to three organizations we work with, and then that's kind of it. Let's see. I apologize for my puppy if you can hear him barking. He's very sad I'm in this room, and he is not. Yeah, I think overall, that was about it. But other than that, it seemed like they have a very clear plan of what they're planning to do for the upcoming season and how they advertise.
Thanks, Jenny. Richard.
Yes, once again, that a clear vision kind of for the concert series. A part of me was curious a bit how Contra Dance fit into everything. Because I feel like every time they mentioned it, it was, oh, this is part of what we do and we promote there, but that was about it. Like there didn't seem to be integration of the Contra Dance into the rest of their application, other than noting that they are the parent organization of that, and it's what it does. And so that was kind of my one big, or not concern, but just question of how all of that plays together. Their budget seems good. Their planning process, though, at least for me, seemed overly broad. It's like within these 3 months, this is what we're doing. Within these 3 months, this is what we're doing, versus a specific timetable of here's the plan for this date, here's who's in charge of that, and kind of going from that. So it seemed like more of a big picture plan versus a more detailed planning process of how they plan to implement all of that. I agree, though, that the community engagement, particularly with the Bridge Behavioral Health Center, I thought that was a really strong part of this application, particularly giving this opportunity to have a kind of a dry concert series for those who may want to experience the concerts but not be around kind of alcohol and that kind of stuff. But once again, even they say we will consider the possibility within the community outreach, versus these are some of the things we've worked in the past. Here are things that have been good. So once again, there just seems to be a level of broadness and a level of what's the word? Vagueness to what some of the details of how this plan, or how they plan to implement some of these aspects. So those were just some of my thoughts.
Thanks, Richard. Hannah.
Yes, don't want to belabor the point. Agree that planning and timeline is a little bit vague, alluding to past partnerships with some public schools, but not really having any concrete plans to pursue those in the future, at least not evident in the application, was a major concern of mine as well. At least for me, I was a little bit confused about the artistic fees breakdown on the budget. Who were those 2 performers at this price, those 4 performers at this price? I would have just loved a little more explanation in the explanation section of the budget, just to clarify, even if these were just tentative numbers based on past performances and past artists that they've hired. Just a bit more clarification on that would be helpful.
Thanks, Hannah. And Sean.
Thank you. I agree with everything that's been said. Yes, more clarification on the budget. Love the Bridge Behavioral Health connection. And what else, can be done to other underserved communities, as well as, bringing in an audience that is maybe a little younger, that Jenny suggested some really good strategies for that. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. If you need a moment, please adjust your scores if necessary. And when you're done with that, if you can give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Moving on to our next application, the Lincoln Friends of Chamber Music. Rachel.
Thanks, Crystal. This application will help the Lincoln Friends of Chamber Music fund their 60-second performance series. The series will consist of 4 concerts, which run September 2026 through April 2027. They estimate 800 individuals will see the performances live and in person at the Johnny Carson Theater and the Kimball Recital Hall. They will also live stream, and they anticipate 120 will watch the live stream from homes or other remote locations. They will use any grant funds awarded to fund the artists and venues for their season events.
Thanks, Rachel. Hannah.
Thank you. Really enjoyed reading about the Lincoln Friends of Chamber Music 60-second concert season. The main strengths of this application and this organization in general are definitely their artistic quality and merit. They bring in really interesting and diverse outside ensembles to perform for this series, and it's very clearly laid out those qualifications and merit. Their goals and evaluation process were also really clearly defined. The planning process was quite detailed, and their budget appeared to be a solid representation of what they expect for this upcoming season. One small area of concern I had was in the outreach and engagement section, specifically with underserved populations. Let me scroll back down to that. Their core audience is definitely a mix of older adults as well as some students, which is awesome. That you do, having attended these concerts myself, you definitely see those 2 demographics. You see students from the university coming, and then mostly older adults, not a lot in the middle. And so I'm just curious to see what they're doing to try to reach a wider audience. It just says in the application that they are developing a wider audience, but it doesn't really say how they've been doing that or what measures they're taking to try to get the word out about these concerts to a different group of people. Otherwise, a really strong application. Look forward to their upcoming season.
Thanks, Hannah. Richard.
Yes, I felt it was a really strong application as well. Obviously, their artistic value and merit is clearly stated, and their plan and budget I felt was very strong. I was just curious of some of the metrics as far as their YouTube and their online viewership goes, and how that is reaching people. They mentioned it, which I think is a good thing, and they started it during COVID. I would just like to see some evidence, like maybe that's reaching a demographic that is not being served in other areas, or how they measure that, or if it's just likes or views that they're getting. But maybe, yeah, and I don't know quite the way to gather that information, but that was the one question that I had was what demographic and how is that helping to support of the rest of what they're doing. But I thought it was a really strong application.
Thanks, Richard. Sean.
Thank you. Yeah, same thing. Strong application, beautiful artistic quality. Also appreciate the outreach that they're doing with the students at the university and at the high school level. I think in terms of that kind of outreach, that is a place that they could really look at expanding in a way that brings in more of an audience for them at that lower level, beyond the college level, but the high school level might be a good thing for them to just think about doing even further. Although it sounds like they've got some really good stuff going on there. And yeah, I thought everything was very clearly laid out. The budget was good. Outreach and community engagement, looking specifically at those underserved communities that they could bring in a little bit more. I would love to see some of that, because I think that could really be a catalyst for them in many ways. So thank you.
Thanks, Sean. And Jenny.
All of that to add to say that I really agree. I agree, especially with the YouTube comments. It'd be interesting to find out if, like, there are places in like smaller communities that are using the performances as part of like showing them to like classes or anything like that. I think that would be something worthwhile for them to follow up on. But overall, I agree with everything that was said.
Thank you. All right, if you need to adjust your scores, please take a moment and do so. And then if I can get a thumbs up when you're done. Thanks, Richard. Thank you. Thank you. Sean, are you good? Okay, all right, perfect. Our next one is Lincoln Municipal Band Association. Rachel.
Thanks, Crystal. The Lincoln Municipal Band will present a series of free outdoor concerts with the goal of educating and entertaining a wide audience. In 2026, the Lincoln Municipal Band will present 8 free outdoor concerts in Antelope Park on Sunday evenings from July 12th through August 30th. Each concert will feature a variety of music traditionally performed by concert bands throughout America in the 20th century, as well as new music from this century. The grant funds awarded will help fund the summer series and pay the artists involved.
Okay, I
Oh,
think this
Sean, over to you. Yep,
yeah,
I was
that this
excited,
one's
but I
mine.
want-
Yeah, this one's mine. You know, obviously this is a time-honored tradition of kind of outdoor music in the summer. It's valuable to the community. I think that in general, they did a relatively good job about all of the information that they laid out, but it would be helpful to have some more information about the music and the soloists for the season, and just for us to have a deeper understanding of what that artistic merit is. The themes feel very, you know, traditional, as band music usually is. But I would invite them to do some maybe more creative thematic programming, which might lead to a little bit more musical diversity. But once again, I think more information would be helpful to fully understand that picture. Their timeline allows for all sorts of things. Let's see, that I think maybe some of the information is missing. Once again, because we didn't really see that artistic information embedded within the context of this application, and I would have thought perhaps they would have had some of that figured out by now. So for me, the budget was specific, but also you know, some very big line items for administration that I thought were kind of big. But in general, you know, very much in alignment with the narrative of what they're doing. And outreach, the application references, you know, increasing diversity, and all of the but most of the diversity that they were focused on seemed to be age and family, and rather than other kinds of diversity. And so the demographic section kind of sets up the fact that maybe they could, with even musically, refer to other diverse groups that might bring in that kind of audience member. So just an invitation to think about diversity in a number of ways in that way. They're, you know, they've got some great letters of support, and it's obviously a beloved event that happens every year, and overall, you know, is, I think, a good application. So thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Hannah.
Thank you. I don't think I have much to add to what Sean already talked about with this application. I think she covered pretty much everything that I thought of as well. I don't know that they have done a demographic survey in a long time, and I know that they have paper program magazines, so that might be a great place to start to really get a better picture of who they're currently serving, to see what holes they have in their audience demographics, and what populations they aren't reaching. I think that would be a really easy first step, is to just have a survey in the program that they already have widely available for this audience. Other than that, their community outreach in the schools, I thought was strong. And with their young artist competition as well, reaching that audience is also a great element to this concert series in the summer. And yeah, no more notes. Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. Jenny.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to say everything was kind of hit upon already, so I pretty much agree with all the statements that were put out there. So I don't have really anything to add.
Thank you. And Richard.
Yep, I agree. I felt it was a really strong application. And just once again, to highlight kind of like what Hannah was saying, that I feel like the young artist competition was a really strength of, yes, we have this concert, but we're also engaging students in this other way that helps to bring to their audiences. So yeah, that was a strong application.
Perfect. All right, thanks everyone. Please take a moment to adjust your scores if you need to do so. And then we'll move on to our next application, and that would be our last application before we take a brief break. Perfect. All right. Thank you, Hannah. Did I get thumbs up from everyone else? Okay, perfect. All righty, next application, Meadowlark Music Festival. Rachel.
Crystal. This grant application is to help pay the artists who perform during the 2026 Meadowlark Music Festival from July 9th through the 12th, held in Lincoln and the surrounding area. They typically attract 1,000 people from the eastern and central regions of Nebraska to their concerts and free educational offerings. Any grant funds awarded will pay the artist fees and associated costs, including travel and hotel.
Great. Thanks, Rachel. Jenny.
All right. Well, I have to say that I thought this was a very strong application. They had, they have a very diverse selection of what they consider chamber music. I like that they have a very broad definition of chamber music. A lot of times, you hear chamber music, you have a very here's what I'm going to be hearing. But they're, I liked all of the, I like seeing the variety of groups that they were inviting in, and really giving that broadened definition to attract people who might not otherwise go to these style of concerts. I thought it was amusing that they were they do evaluations, which I think is a great way to see if the people that are attending are enjoying their selections. But they were like, we don't know how to measure or what they want, but I think the fact that they have good attendance and everything is actually proving their point for them, that they're getting a really good selections and a really wide variety that's attracting all these people who are really enjoying their concerts. So as long as they keep doing the evaluations and checking in and seeing if that's what the people who are showing up are enjoying, I think that is a good measurement right there. They have an excellent outreach and advertising and just getting to different groups of people. I like that they do the free concerts for both the elderly community and the youth and the schools, making sure that at least as many segments of the community as possible get to hear these performers. They have a really strong advertising, they're hitting it seemed like they were hitting every avenue, which I thought was great. They've got the social media, the radio, the schools, the free concerts, the educational aspect. Let's see. And overall, everything seemed The budget really seemed fairly in line. I thought there was nothing that stood out to me. And good community partnerships. So overall, I thought it was a very good application.
Thanks, Jenny. Hannah.
Yeah, definitely agree with everything Jenny said. They they touched on a lot of great artistic merit for all the amazingly varietous, is that a word? Artists that they're bringing to this concert series, and all the different venues also create a really different vibe, which is going to bring a different audience to each one. I think the only thing that I noted that was funny is they have a really specific goal of getting at least 200 people at the venues. One of the venue does only seat 75 people. So I don't know, maybe they do 2 performances of that show. I know that they probably are intending it for the larger venues, that was their goal, and I really hope that they fill every single seat for that concert that is in the new venue in Havelock. Other than that, all of the outreach and engagement they're doing in the community, especially with the stuff they're doing with students and working with those organizations with NASTA and LMTA and all that, is really excellent. So overall, very strong application.
Thanks, Hannah. Richard.
I agree. I thought it was a very strong application. And I even appreciated more so than even just their concerts that they sent promotional materials and offer presentations at, the Hispanic Center, the African American Center, the Retirement Center. So it seems like in addition to the performance, they're doing a lot of outreach to engage these various communities, and they have a strong plan of how they go about doing it. So I was really impressed with this one.
Thanks, Richard. And Sean.
Yeah, same. Everyone has said all the things. The one thing I want to highlight is that they're not only, the diversity of music, but the diversity of locations where they're doing everything is part of the outreach. And I love that they built it in that way. So beautiful application. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. All right. If you need to take a moment to adjust your scores, please do so. And then if I can get a thumbs up once everyone has done that. Perfect, perfect. Hannah, Jenny, Richard, awesome. Perfect. All right. Thanks, everyone. We will go ahead and take a brief break here. Rachel, do we want to say 5 past the hour? Just to have a clean. All right, awesome. We'll see everyone at 5 past the hour. Go ahead and mute yourselves, turn your cameras off, and we'll see you back here soon. Hello, welcome back, everyone. Hello, hello. All right. Let us continue. Our next application is Nebraska Brass Incorporated.
All right, Nebraska Brass will present their 2026-27 concert season with 4 separate concert series, 3 to 5 concerts per each series, for a total of 17 to 18 concerts in Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding communities within several hundred miles of Lincoln. They will present 4 to 5 Brass Goes to School performances at elementary schools in Lincoln and Omaha as part of the educational outreach program, and will also present 3 to 5 performances in local retirement facilities, which they have done in previous years. Any grant funds awarded will provide support for musicians. As this year they plan to present 17 to 18 total concerts.
Thanks, Rachel. Hannah.
Thank you both. I thought the Nebraska Brass application was very clearly defined with exactly what concerts they're doing, how many, where, the educational outreach they do in the schools with Brass Goes to School, as well as the performances that they do in the local retirement community. Other than I didn't really have too much feedback other than the planning process and the timeline being maybe a little bit vague, a little bit zoomed out. And though they didn't list any specific demographics for the areas that they're serving, they do list specifically the communities that they are wanting to increase accessibility and awareness to with those communities that are not able to attend these concerts in person. I thought that was clearly defined and well laid out. But other than that, I look forward to hearing what my fellow panelists have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. Sean.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought this was a strong application as well. They, are very highly organized. They do a lot of outreach. Their performances on the YouTube channel was really easy to access, and so that everything was set up well for the application. Planning is very robust, documented well. Let's see what else. Just everything that was said, I agree with. I do think that the demographics from the citywide perspective would have been helpful in helping them identify, kind of diversity in their audience and who's attending. And yeah, just a very well-rounded application.
Thank you. Ginny.
I agree. I thought this was a very strong application, and I agree with pretty much everything that was said. It had high marks for me.
And Richard.
I agree as well. It was a very strong application, and I particularly love their community involvement. With the Big Brothers and Big Sisters and other organizations to really try to reach a larger audience. So I thought very strong application.
Thank you. All right. If you need to take a moment to adjust your scores, please do so now. And if I can get a thumbs up when you're ready to move on to the next application. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Ginny. Sean, Hannah, perfect. Thank you. All right. Our next application is the Ogallala Regional Arts Council. And Rachel.
Thanks, Crystal. This application will help pay for the artists that have been chosen for the Ogallala Regional Arts Council 2026-27 concert season. The concerts and plays will take place in the Performing Arts Center at the Ogallala High School and the Willow and Oak Event Center, with student workshops taking place in local schools. They estimate 1,800 people from Keith County and surrounding areas will attend these concerts and related activities. all grant funds awarded will be used for the artist fees and any special requests that they have.
Thank you. And Jenny.
All right. So I like that they in their selection of artist choices, it seemed like they were all very good artists, but I do like that they do have a slot where they're trying to experiment with different styles of music. Not necessarily just like what their standard is, because they did mention that it was like maybe one of their first times they're having like a bluegrass concert, just to try it out, which is great. I like that they are experimenting with that, while still keeping. It looks like one of the artists has been there before and is very well loved. Let's see. I like that they have the theater, the Missoula Theater Company, which really gets kids and especially interactive with this, which it seems to be a very highly, from what I picked up, it was a very highly regarded part of the season. And they might want to explore maybe doing more than one a year. Let's see. Maybe they mentioned that, so I saw in the application that they do have a little bit of issue with feast and famine, and that they were looking at maybe upping their fees. And when I looked at the budget, I do notice that like some of the musical acts, there was definitely one that was quite a lot. And so if they are having that trouble, they might maybe want to look into somebody that, I think I'd rather them like try and keep it a little more open, for like everyone to attend, and maybe not have quite as expensive like artists, because I feel like, especially seeing like the cost of especially like one of them was like a good portion of their budget that was listed in there. I do think that I would have liked to see a little more like breakdown on some of the like their planning and their advertising, and like making sure that it was like enough ahead of time. And like how exactly, so it looks like they are giving out like free tickets. I definitely would have liked to see just maybe a little bit more. It's like information on like, like how many people are like partaking in the free tickets, if this is like working and bringing in people who might not otherwise be able to attend these concerts. And just maybe a little bit more on how they plan on outreaching, because they were like, we're investigating how to like reach out to like the retirement community and the schools, and I would like a little more like action based there.
Thanks, Jenny.
Mhm.
Sean.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with Jenny on and all of that. Noting that, yeah, it is a diverse group of things that they're creating here, and I think that's a really great thing. The Missoula Theater absolutely is something that they may want to look at, emphasizing even more. From a planning perspective, they were pretty succinct and everything aligned with the narrative, agree on the budget idea, but also that it would be helpful to have more current baseline numbers for their membership and attendance so that they can frame their new member growth. I know that they had some very specific measurables, like they want to have 3 new families and then get 3 people from the Lake Conahay area, and that was great. I love measurable goals because I think that helps them measure success. And that's these end of season surveys and post concert feedback is beautiful. And yeah, their outreach was pretty good. I wonder, what else they might be able to do to even create more outreach to some of these communities that could partake in this in different ways. So, but it's obviously a very important thing for this community, and it's a strong application.
Thank you. Richard, additional thoughts from you?
No, I appreciated they seem to be really invested in trying to bring things to the schools, particularly the elementary schools. And they mentioned that, but also the people on their board that inquiry directors in the area to try to bring those in. So they seem to be really invested in that. Yeah, I thought it was a strong application.
Thank you. And Hannah?
I agree. I don't think I have anything else to add that hasn't already been said. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. If you need to adjust your scores, please do so. And then if I can get a thumbs up when you're ready to move on. Richard, thank you. Jenny, thank you. Perfect. Thank you, Hannah. All right. Our next application is the Omaha Chamber Music Society. Rachel.
Thanks, Crystal. This application will help pay musicians who perform during the 2027 Summer Concert Series, a series of 4 concerts on consecutive Sunday afternoons from June 6th through June 27th of 2027, so next June, at the Omaha Conservatory of Music. They regularly serve more than 1,000 patrons at the series each year. Any grant funds awarded will help pay for the artist fees for the season.
Thanks, Rachel. Sean.
Okay, hold on here. Okay, so this application it's a strong application across the board. The artistic quality programming shows some real creativity and diversity. And the first concert, which was like ballroom to bossa nova, includes both, you know, standard and newer pieces, and from that artistic perspective is really well done. Each concert is curated by a different performer, which gives the musicians agency in a way that I really appreciate. And then they do the pre-performance talks as well, which pairs well really with this whole approach of letting the artists themselves have this agency. And I just think that's a brilliant way of doing things. I appreciate also that they actively look for, as they said in their application, diverse composers, and that is you know, meets the metric very well. And they pay attention to accessibility, both for not only their live performances but on their online performances as well, which is you know, a good thing. For outreach, they work with underserved communities very well. The Good Vibrations program, which takes donated instruments and professionally repairs them and gives them to students in Title I schools, is, you know, a beautiful example of you know, outreach that really is very much aligned with their mission. They do monthly programming in a lot of those Title I schools as well, and as concerts at senior and assisted living facilities, and it's just you know, well done with the outreach. They also do a good job of using different tactics to bring in their diverse audience members. But I'd love to know what number or percentage of tickets they discount or give away, and how that is determined. Let's see what else. Yeah, their outreach to diverse communities is seemingly important to this group, and really in evidence throughout not only their programming but in the outreach opportunities that they create. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's really it. The only thing I noticed is that they had one letter of community support from a patron, but I would have loved to see a letter of support from some of the strong partnerships that they have, because I think that would have been, you know, would have added to this whole application. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Hannah.
Thank you. Honestly, Sean, I've got nothing else to add. I think you said it all. I'm really jazzed about the Good Vibrations program, and their summer drumming camp. I think they've got some really excellent educational outreach going on. So I have nothing to add. Really strong application.
Thanks, Hannah. Jenny.
I have to agree. I don't really have anything to add. It was a good application.
Perfect. And Richard?
I echo everyone else what they said. I felt like it was a strong application. So
All right. Thanks, everyone. If you need to adjust your scores, please take a moment and do so. And then if I can get a thumbs up. Thank you. Perfect. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Our next application is the Omaha Symphonic Chorus. Rachel, over to you.
Thanks, Crystal. The Omaha Symphonic Chorus 2026-27 concert series will include the fall concert in October, their Christmas at the Cathedral concert in December, a winter concert in March, and a spring concert in May. Rehearsals begin in August and continue until May. Grant funds awarded will be used for general operational and program expenses, which include music rental and purchase, space rental, technician instruction, musician collaboration, program promotion, and member recruitment.
All righty. Richard, you're up.
great. I felt that there was clear value to the community being a kind of a community chorus and kind of given their variety of concerts they give. So I think just the nature of it being community members singing, with one of the few remaining large adult choruses in Omaha, provides an experience for people who are looking for that. And their director and things like that, they seem to be very strong. They have measurable goals with their strategic plan of how to achieve it, with key members of the planning process identified with each of the various steps. They've mentioned a few times of wanting to increase their own membership to pre-COVID levels and kind of their strategy for that. One of the areas that I found was a little bit lacking, but it seems promising, but just they don't seem to have the concrete plans for how to do some of their outreach. They talked about trying to figure out a 4 points program to do the 4 points of Nebraska, but aren't quite sure of the venues yet. They said that they would like to go into schools, but implies that they aren't going into schools yet or knowing how to involve the school system. And they also said they're investigating performing in nursing homes, which once again implies that they don't quite have a plan or been able to do that. So it seems that they have a lot of good ideas for community engagement or outreach, but I just haven't seen evidence of what that may look like. Though I did appreciate that they're planning to have open seating for part of their Christmas, at the Cathedral concert. So, the patrons could sit in one area, but then people could still come whether they wanted to pay or not. And they also have obviously a strong community partnership with the Omaha Symphony. So I thought that was good there too. But yeah, I think the big thing was kind of the outreach of what that looked like. And I feel like with the choir that there's a lot of opportunities for what that can be. And so I just like to see, I guess, more evidence or more of a plan of what that could be.
Thanks, Sean. Sorry, Richard. I'm thinking ahead. Thank you, Richard. Sean, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I agree with everything that Richard says. I think it's valuable for people to be able to go sing in a community choir, and that there's obviously a level of excellence that this director is bringing forward for the choir itself and the people who are participating in it and their audience. I do notice that it was difficult for me to truly assess the artistic merit because there weren't any links to recordings. And so I was unable to actually see that or experience that. And I think that would have been a very helpful thing in terms of being able to rate the artistic merit, other than just looking at a program. Let's see what else. There is a generous line item in the budget for professional artists, but there's no professional artist named in the application. And I wonder what that is. And I would really like to see that broken out and how that's used. Let's see. Evaluation goals address a lot of things like that are qualitative instead of quantitative. Although there are some things about membership and ticket sales, but they're not expressed in measurable terms. And I think that being able to look at these and give some goals that are measurable would be really helpful in terms of being able to determine success. And then from a community outreach level, once again, application doesn't necessarily connect all the dots to the data that they're talking about, the audiences that they serve. So thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Hannah.
Thank you. I also, I'm I'm guessing that the professional musicians line, because it's so high, is probably Omaha Symphony musicians that they're paying. But I don't know, and it isn't particularly clear. So that was also something that I highlighted as well, Sean, that I would love to just even just an explanation. Fine to just have that general term in that line 11 there in section 1, but then an explanation should be like, this is typically what we pay these musicians to do for these concerts. I'm assuming it's the Omaha Symphony musicians that they're paying, but not super clear there. I would also like to just see a little bit more fleshed out plans for their outreach opportunities, especially the school visits and the 4 Points concerts sound really fantastic, but it doesn't seem like they have a lot of clear plans to implement them in the future. But other than that, I think it's an overall a strong publication. It's a wonderful community need that's being fulfilled to have a community choir. They are dwindling in our community, so it's great to see these still alive and well, and thriving. So just a couple of notes to perhaps flesh out more or to clarify.
Thanks, Hannah. Jenny.
Yes, just following along, I definitely thought about the professional fee. And I would have liked to have seen some live, some actual like recordings. Although I know with like a lot of those like choral things, like there are copyrights and legality stuff. So maybe they don't get like video rights or things like that to keep, because that usually costs more, have to keep costs down for that kind of stuff. So I do understand it to that, but it would be nice, even if they were just little snippets.
Thanks, Jenny. All right. If you need to adjust your scores, please take a moment and do so. And if I can get a thumbs up when you're ready to move on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. All right. Next application, Orchestra Omaha. Rachel.
All right, this application will support Orchestra Omaha's 2026-27 concert season, Stories in Sound, which is a 4-concert series. The season will feature 40 to 50 musicians exploring programmatic works that paint vivid scenes, from Beethoven's pastoral landscapes to supernatural tales for Halloween. The Young Artist Competition is a cornerstone of the series, serving young musicians ages 9 to 18, and students compete in 3 divisions. Any grant funds awarded will cover the operational costs of the 4-concert season, which include venue rental, sheet music, and artist fees.
Thank you. Hannah.
All right, thanks very much. Just want to make sure you all can hear me. The air conditioning unit's really loud in here. Okay, great. Luckily, I don't think it's kicked on any time I've spoken except up till now, so that's been great. Over a really strong application, it's great to have these spaces for music lovers and performers to participate in a non-professional capacity. I think that's really fantastic part to play in our community. The project description and their goals and their merit and qualifications that they show, I think is really clear. I would love to see a bit more in their planning process. That timeline is a little bit thin, a little vague there, just to see more details about planning each event that is listed. It sort of gives a really broad overview, but even just fleshing that out, which I know can sometimes feel redundant when you're filling out these applications, but that helps us give a clearer picture of when things are happening and how that process looks. Let's see. There was a little bit of lacking information in just general demographics, which I know is hard to gather, but since they do a printed program, quick survey and a program QR code link could help them just be a starting point for gathering those demographic informations that they can then utilize in their planning process for the future. I really love that they have a free ticket model that breaks down so many barriers and reaches such a broader community of people that can attend these performances and participate in them. And I guess I would just really like to hear some more about their partnership with the Fontenelle Forest. They kind of mentioned it so briefly, and it sounded really exciting. So I think that's an area that they can definitely expand on in their community outreach and engagement. So.
Thanks, Hannah. Richard.
I echo a lot of what Hannah said. Obviously, a lot of good. It's good to have these opportunities for these musicians to play. I agree that the planning process seemed very broad. It seemed more like a schedule, like here's where our concerts are versus like here's how we're planning for the concerts. And so it's more of just the discrepancy of planning versus a schedule. I also wrote about Fontenelle Forest. It seemed like a neat opportunity. Just wondering what that was like. The only thing to add is similar to what I shared with the other organization, that I love that they have a young artist competition. I love ways that they can engage young people to bring them in and to help. I think that only strengthens these organizations. So the fact that they have that, I think, is very strong.
Thanks, Richard. Sean.
Great, thank you. Yeah, agreed with all of that. Noticing that once again, yeah, the application doesn't include actual kind of goals to the project, just audience members across 4 concerts with another 300 or so attending was the only kind of goal, and the rest were just yeah, kind of descriptions of what they do. So having some measurable goals would be really helpful. Agreeing with the demographics as well, and that just mentioning that their connection with the Title I schools for outreach, I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. Ginny, thoughts from you?
Yeah, so I've pretty much agreed with what everyone said. I did notice that I love their young artist competition as well. They noted that they wanted to do, one of the things I saw was that they wanted to get more rural participation in that, but their only goal on that was like, we'll just continue sending information packets. And so I don't know if that's what they have been doing, or if they were going to stretch out and try and send more to people they haven't got. But also, if they're not getting the response from that, they might want to look into like maybe other avenues to reach the rural students to participate.
Thanks, Jenny. All right, if you need to adjust your scores, please take a moment and do so. And if I can get a thumbs up when you're ready to move on. Perfect. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, our next application is Oregon Vesper Series Incorporated, and Sean, apologies, Sean, you will be up, but after Rachel gives the synopsis.
Thanks, Crystal. This application is to help pay the artists who perform during the 2026-27 season of Vesper concerts, which will be held September 2026 through May of 2027 at Presbyterian Church of the Cross in Omaha. The season will consist of 7 concerts, and they anticipate around 2,800 people from the Omaha and Lincoln areas, the majority of whom are from Douglas, Sarpy, and Lancaster counties. Any grant funds awarded will pay the artists involved.
Sean, over to you.
Great, thank you. Well, to start out, obviously they've been doing this for 37 seasons, and it's a free concert, and that is a real institutional commitment to the community. And their artistic identity is very clear, and their music and stylistic diversity is supported by the high quality of performance that they have. And I appreciated the season recap that on YouTube that they gave us the link to, and I appreciate that was in the application and easy to reach. On outreach, they include the Douglas County demographics and identify the underserved audiences through kind of multiple dimensions, and kind of discuss that they're addressing them. I know that they have the CUES partnership with those schools who have a lot of underserved students in them. I do have a question about why is there a reason that they're only working with the CUES school system and not the Omaha public school system as well? So just something to think about. And that, let's see what else. The budget was clear, but I felt that it was kind of light on detail. And let's see, the goals once again are listed, but they're not really measurable. So statements like increasing ticket sales or increasing online presence, but not, saying like where are we starting? What is the goal that we're trying to reach? And so I think having some measurable statistics would be very helpful. And they do track their sales, and they have an end of season audience survey and all of that, which is great. But just being more specific and measurable with the goals would be really helpful. So
Thanks, Sean. Hannah.
Thank you. I don't know that I have anything else to add than that Sean already hasn't covered. It's a really well-established program in the community. They having free concerts is just once again such a great way to break down the barriers of attending a performance. There is a really wide variety of artists that they're bringing in, and their outreach in the schools that they do is very clearly laid out, and brings in a lot of support and an audience that way as well. But I don't actually think that I have anything particularly to add. I had to look up what the Q school system was and learn more about that. So I was glad to, as someone who's not an Omaha native, just to learn more about this area, was glad to learn something new from this application. So thanks.
Thanks, Hannah. Richard.
I agree. It's good to see, I mean, a group that has had, longstanding success and shows their value to the community. And so I thought a lot of that was strong and echoed the education outreach I thought was very strong and clearly laid out. So I thought it was a strong application.
Thank you. Jenny.
Yes, I also had to look up the Q schools as well. But I thought, which I thought was really interesting, and maybe like they should give since they're presenting with those to the schools and including them, they should give a little bit more description on that. And also I did like that they gave really good thought about the style of music. I liked how they had all their questions. They're like, here are the things that we're looking at to make sure we're getting a varied performance. But otherwise, good application.
All right. Thanks, everyone. If you need to adjust your scores, please take a moment and do so. And if I can get a thumbs up when we're ready to move on. Perfect, 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 perfect. All right. Our next application is the River City Mixed Chorus. Rachel.
This application is to help cover production expenses for the River City Mixed Chorus's Winter 2026 concert, which is called Joy to the World, at the Holland Performing Arts Center on December 5th. They estimate 1,700 people will attend the performance. The holiday concert is an annual series that takes place the first Saturday of December at the Holland. Any grant funds awarded will help pay contracts for the instrumentalist to provide the live score for the performance and to purchase sheet music for the ensemble.
Thank you. Richard, over to you.
Sure. I thought this was a strong application, and I thought it was interesting that they obviously do a lot of concerts a year, but they're just looking for funding for one particular concert versus for kind of broader things for the organization. But at least just knowing that it's like for this one concert, I thought it was a really strong application. This choir seems to have a long history of success and value to the community. And their artistic staff seems obviously very well qualified. They do have clear measurable goals and with initiatives to help promote their target growth audience, and with their budget that is also realistic. They seem to have a really robust board and marketing committee to kind of track and to do all the various logistical and administrative tasks of it all. And then there's also a lot of well-documented outreach and partnership within the greater kind of Omaha Council Bluffs area. Obviously taking, education outreach with Omaha Symphony and up to Boys Town. Also the fact that they have an ASL interpreter at a choir concert to provide, to show to provide to an audience that probably never goes to choir concerts, but those, the hearing impaired to kind of participate within that, I thought was very strong. Yes, I do believe, well, I said earlier, 25 maybe a bit much. I feel like $20 for this, I think, is good for kind of a reasonable thing for lower income. And then we also see some of their other partnerships with, First United Methodist Church of Omaha, Omaha Performing Arts, and then Out Nebraska and Omaha for Us. So they seem to be really connected with the community in various areas and providing something that another opportunity for community members to sing in a large chorus area. So I felt it was a strong application.
Thanks, Richard. Jenny.
Yeah, so I agree with everything that Richard was putting out. It is a very strong application. One of the things I saw is they wanted to increase awareness, but I didn't really see how they were going, unless I missed it, but I didn't see, they're like, we'll increase awareness, but I don't know how they're gonna measure that or know per se, like if their awareness has really been increased. But other than that, I think that was it for that.
All right, thank you. Hannah, anything on your end?
Nothing to add, just really admire their commitment to accessibility, both for their audience members and also for the members of the chorus. I just admire that.
Thanks, Hannah. Sean, thoughts from you?
Yeah, just really appreciate this application because it is, the only choir of its kind in the state, and the inclusivity and diversity I appreciate in this application.
Thank you. All right, if you need a moment to adjust your scores, please do so now. And if I can get a thumbs up when we're ready to move on to our final application. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Hannah, awesome. All right, last application, Voices of Omaha. Rachel.
Thanks, Crystal. So this application is to help pay for the venue, solo artists, and orchestra members who accompany the Voices of Omaha Chorus as they perform selections from Handel's Messiah at the Holland Performing Arts Center in November 2026. They estimate 1,500 people from the Omaha metro area will attend the performance.
All right, thanks, Rachel. Richard, over to you.
For sure, I felt this was another strong application. I think the mere fact that they've been doing it for so many years, I think it's the 57th annual, shows that it is well respected and appreciated by the community. Longstanding tradition kind of here in the Omaha area. And has gone on for many years. They do have a clear vision kind of for planning and budget for how they planning to do this. And it seems to have also clear evidence of community outreach and engagements with, trying to provide funds to help support students and military personnel. And then also obviously be presented free of charge to the audience. And I also like that they, do outreach to the Sienna Francis House and to sing out to show kind of community involvement with that. And then also with their partnership with KBNO, I thought was strong. So I feel like there's just a lot of community aspect to this in a concert that going on so long really does add value to our area.
Thanks, Richard. Jenny.
Yeah, so I also thought this was a strong application. I really liked how they were also adding in like the historical context of the instruments. I thought, which was, just kind of a nice little addition. Sometimes, we forget about like where everything comes from. And then other than that, I love the mini performances. I think that's great. I know a lot of people don't always like to sit through the longer performances, but you can really get a good taste of that with like those mini performances. And just maybe I'd like a little bit more info. They did put something that like one of their goals is to recruit more inclusive members in their choir to make sure. And so I wasn't really sure exactly how they were measuring that. But other than that, I think everything sounded really good in this application.
Thanks, Jenny. Hannah.
Agreed, this was a really strong application. It's great to have this performance being done regularly in our state. The goals were a little bit vague, both in what goals they set out and also how they would like to go about implementing those goals and tracking them. Would like to see a little more clarity there. And the community demographics that they talk about are just a little bit generalized. So some more specifics in just narrowing and focusing this aspect of the application would be great, but otherwise, strong application.
Thanks, Hannah. Sean, thoughts from you?
Yeah, agree with everything. The only thing that I wanted to point out is just a technical standpoint that hasn't been said here is that from the linked materials, the artistic talent appears to be qualified, but there were the application links to what appear to be the soloists, but their names weren't included in the narrative. And so that would be helpful to just be a complete application. So
Awesome. All right, thanks everyone. If you need to adjust your scores, please take a moment and do so now. And then if I can get a thumbs up once you've completed that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sean, are you good? Okay, nope, perfect. I just wanted to make sure. All righty. Now that all applications have been discussed and scored, we'll take a 5-minute break. During that time, NAC staff will tally the scores and prepare information for final discussion. When panelists reconvene, we'll review the procedures and make final determinations. For the final portion of this meeting is closed to the public, so we will end the live stream now. But before we do, I just want to remind all applicants that you will be notified in June about the funding decisions for this grant category. So to all those watching today, thanks for joining us and have a great day. And